Hello everybody, I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to another in my Northerner Down South series. Today I'm going to be making a Scottish dish, minced beef round, which is a pie made in a circular pastry tinfoil case or a round pie plate. I'm doing it with 1940s pastry and I'm going to be serving it as a full meal for Dan. I'm going to be staying with my mum-in-law soon, so I'm starting to prep meals for when Dan's on his own. So whatever is left from his meal tonight, we can freeze into portions and put it aside for him for while I'm away. So let's get started. I have a bowl here with 6 ounces of plain flour and I'm adding a teaspoon and a half or half a tablespoon of baking powder. And I'm going to sift that into my mixing bowl. Next, I've measured out 2 ounces of cooking fat. This is a mixture of lard and margarine. And then I'm going to crumble it into the flour until it's thoroughly combined. I'll also add a good pinch of salt. You don't want this pastry to be heavy. It's not got a lot of fat in because it's a recipe from the Second World War. That looks just about right. And now I'm going to add a little cold water to bind. I'm using ice cold water. It's important to keep pastry as cold as possible for perfect results. It's coming together quite well. If you want to, you can add a few dried herbs or fresh herbs to your pastry. These could include thyme, for example, which will be a very good one to use, or maybe little sprigs of rosemary, chopped up very fine with scissors. That should be just about right. It's coming together beautifully. There, look. I'm lucky because I've got a set of scales that have various measurements such as millilitres and ounces as well as grams. So it's easy doing these old-fashioned recipes. But 6 ounces of flour is 175 grams and 2 ounces of cooking fat is around about 50 to 60 grams. I would use 60 just to be on the safe side. I'm giving this pastry a little knead and I'm going to wrap it up in a little bit of greaseproof paper and pop it in the fridge for about half an hour just to relax. Your pastry will be all the better for it. Now, my maternal nan always used this kind of enamel pie plate for her pies, whether they were apple pies or meat pies or even quiches. If a quiche dish was in the wash, for example, or she'd used it for something else, she would use a pie plate like this for her quiches as well. This is what I'm using today. I have mostly vintage tableware. I have quite a lot of enamel and the green beryl from the end of 1939 right into the 1950s, which is known as utility ware. In fact, two of my pieces of beryl that I acquired recently from eBay are two of the earliest pieces of beryl from the tail end of 1939. As I have no butter papers left at the moment, I'm greasing this pie dish with clean fingers and a little bit of margarine. There we go, that's greased really well. Now it's time to roll the pastry. I've put a little bit of flour on the board. I'm just going to roll my rolling pin through the flour. This is nice and chilled pastry. It's had quite a long time to just rest and do its thing. I'm going to roll this pastry out quite thinly. Now you can cut a little bit off for the lid. I'm going to have a little bit of overhang if possible, and then cut around that and add that to the bit I've cut off to make the top, if that makes sense. Oh, I know what I'm talking about, you'll see. If you need more flour, don't be ashamed, just put some on the board and on the pin, as I have done. That should be about right. I might not take it right to the edges anyway, we'll see. I have a good trick that I use when I don't make a huge amount of pastry. I'm just on a fork for pie. Just take it a little bit further. It's nice and thin. So here's the pie dish. I'm just going to bring this pastry up over the rolling pin, like so, and just put the pastry in the pie dish. Don't worry if you need to adjust it. That looks to be more or less perfect. Nice and thin. And then I'm just going to cut around the edges. As cleanly as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. That'll do. I have here this lovely minced beef that I cooked yesterday. Remember, never put hot pie filling into the pastry case because it won't end well. I should get all this in. It's just the right amount. If there's a bit left over, it doesn't matter. It'll come in useful. I can just about get it all in. This is one of my mum's glass dishes. It's only a small casserole dish, but she used to use it for serving carrots in, or just doing a very small casserole for herself. It's years old, probably 1970s or even earlier. I put some more flour on the board and I'm going to do a lid. Give it a small knead just to bring everything together. I don't want to handle it too much though, because remember your hands will warm up the pastry. And then we're going to roll some kind of lid for the top. often do the lid a little bit thicker. The reason I do thin pastry on the bottom of the pie is so that the base is cooked thoroughly, because we don't want any soggy bottoms. It doesn't have to be exact because it's going to be trimmed, and I'll show you what we're going to do. I'm going to damp the edges just with a little bit of water. This helps the pastry to stick. So again, roll the pastry over the rolling pin and place it atop. Now, as you can see, this isn't a perfect fit. What I'm going to do is just trim off the edge. Like so. Then I'm going to damp the edge again. This is a good trick if you haven't got quite enough pastry. And then I'm going to bring the edges over from the edge of the dish. And crimp it as I go along. I'm going to make a hole in the middle. That's for the steam to escape. I'm going to actually make a cross. I often do it like that. That's my signature. We all have our own way of doing things. And I'm just going to decorate the top with the little bit of pastry that's left. So here we are. That's going in the refrigerator now until later on. I've done a bit of a leaf design on the top. That looks rather good. I think Dan will really enjoy this. And I'll see you back later. I'm off for some salad lunch now and maybe have a chill and then walk down to the Petticoat Lane Emporium to restock my craft pitch. Well, I'm back. I've heated the oven up to 190 Celsius, 375 Fahrenheit, gas mark 5. I'm going to be putting the pie in a moment. Dan will be home soon. And with the pie, I'm doing some potato and celeriac mash and also some carrots and cabbage. I'm just going to brush the top of the pie with a little milk. This helps it get nice and brown. There we go. And now it's going in the oven. So here's the pie. Doesn't that look appetizing? I'm going to cut it across here. And no doubt Dan will eat half of that. And then there'll be quite a bit left to put in the freezer for future meals while I stay at his mum's. I often do prepping, as you know, and especially if I'm going to be away up in London for a few days, I always make sure that Dan has enough. That looks quite nice, doesn't it? The bottom of the crust is disintegrated slightly, so the pie will probably go in containers. So I'm giving Dan some cabbage and carrots. See how much I can get on the plate. He's had a busy day, so he's hungry. There's more if you want it, babe.
Oh, lovely.
This is lovely, creamy potato and celeriac mash. I always make sure that I mash it with some warm milk rather than cold. You get less lumps in. Although it is a little rustic. So try this then, Dan, and tell me what you think.
Ooh.
Let's try the pastry first. Very light pastry.
It's a Second World War pastry.
Very nice. What's in it?
6 ounces of flour and 2 ounces of fat, that's all.
Lovely.
And a teaspoon and a half of baking powder and some water.
It's very light. Let's try the filling. That's really nice too.
It's probably a healthier pastry. Do you want to try it with your gravy?
Yes, I'll pour a bit of gravy on. This is generic Bisto. Nothing special, which I made up. Let's try it with the gravy. It's really nice, goes really well
Does it?
with the gravy.
Do you like your filling?
I do, it's really nice.
Well, that's your minced beef round. A taste of bonnie Scotland.
It's lovely.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, babe. So there we are. Another successful meal. Dan's a very happy fella. He's back quite late tonight. It's gone 7:30. I'm glad he's enjoying it. And remember to ring the notification bell for my next video, and in the meantime please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon for the next one. Bye for now.